everybody, it's Maria, and today I'm going to be doing a general, honest, very honest talk about slumpiness. That has been the word that just keeps sticking in my brain, and as I go through this video, you'll understand why slumpiness is the word of the month for me. We had a crazy month. I did a week of middle school camp counseling, which was great, but exhausting. I have not been that sore for a very long time. We had a car accident in last month, and so it was just trying to figure out like all of that. Then my mom got in an accident. Both my sister-in-law got in an accident, and then again this morning I found out my brother got in an accident this morning. Everybody's fine, but there were a lot of, I guess, 3 car totalings between that, and ours was almost totaled. I mean, it was just a weird month for that. So just feeling general anxiety about regular life things, because it wasn't, I don't know. So there's that. Then my kids are going through like this transition stage. My littlest is moving in from 2.5 to 3, which comes with more independence, but also a bit more sass. Her older brothers are also just kind of at each other's throats more than usual. And I don't know if it's the heat of the summer or the lack of routine, or a combination, I'm sure. And then my husband's been really busy with work stuff as I'm trying to get ready and feel positive about homeschooling in this fall. That said, we're also planning some trips up in the next couple months, various places, and it's just been exhausting. I mean, I have friends that are going through breakups or life changes. I'm exhausted, like so exhausted. And it's been really, really hard to focus on anything. I feel like I've just kind of let the year go. And I don't know, for me, I really value intentional living and trying to be clear about my choices and my priorities. I've been trying to minimize our house and go through what's important and what's not. I've been trying to do better about cleaning. I've been more politically active, which is also frustrating. And it's just been exhausting. I think a lot of people are at the same point, so I'm hoping this doesn't scare too many of you. Hopefully it'll make you feel better, like you're not alone. But anyway, so it all kind of came to a head in the last couple weeks where did the mom thing and cried on the floor in my kid's room and tried to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get back to a new sense of normal while still feeling good? And so little changes and writing things down and coming up with a plan. So I did that, and I just wanted to kind of talk to you about some of the problem-solving solutions I came up with. And I would love if any of you have felt similarly or have been there, or just random words of encouragement. It would be awesome. So, because I feel like I'm coming out of a fog, but yes. Okay, first up, reading slump. We're on BookTube. So you guys know how frustrating it is when you realize there's so many books that you really want to read, but you just can't right now. Like, your mind is not focusing. You're having a hard time even sitting down. Every time you do sit down, something comes up and you have to put your book down. That's been the last few months for me. So what I did to try and like come out of it a little bit, I decided to do some rereading and just put away all the books that I decided I was going to read and just take care of myself. So I picked up an old favorite. This is The Humans by Matt Haig. I love this book. It makes me laugh. It makes me cry. It makes me want to read poetry and slow down. And for that, I'm so grateful. So I picked up this one. I've also been just listening to audiobooks, several different ones. And if they don't get into it, then I just turn it off and pick a different one. So I've listened to different snippets of Unf Your Habitat. I've listened to a couple on nature things. I actually just started The Boston Girl. Happily Ever Esh mentioned it and listening to it on audio on her channel, and I'm really into that. I did a lot of cleaning yesterday and listened to about 5 hours of it. No, not 5 hours, 3 hours. But anyway, that's quite a bit of time for a mom who's at her wit's end. So I've really tried to enjoy some audiobooks. I've picked up a couple of short stories that have been on my list. Steinbeck, good old Steinbeck. This is The Red Pony, and this is a beautiful edition that I got when we were in New York City. So I was excited to read that one, and I'm almost done with it. I've been also picking up some nonfiction that has kind of good chapter breaks. This is So You've Been Publicly Shamed, and I should probably finish that within the next couple days. It's been a slow read, but I've hardly picked up books this month at all. Like, the only book that I read all of, like sat down physically, is this one, and it's not even that long. And I'm being okay with that because life sometimes is like that. So those are some other things. Just giving yourself grace. And if you are on BookTube and you have a slump, like, don't feel like you have to, I don't know, fake it or talk about your feelings about it. Talk about other books that you have read in the past that you haven't gotten to mention on your channel. Talk about BookTubers videos that you're enjoying. Talk about anything. Don't feel like you are not good enough on BookTube if you're having a slumpy month. That's crap. So that's my first slump. Second slump, confession. See? Brain, like, ugh. Okay. Parenting. Like I mentioned before, it's just been a really rough emotional month for a lot of reasons. And so I've been trying to figure out how to break out of this parenting slump of just feeling like you're not enough as a mom and that you're exhausted. So the first thing I've been doing is cleaning. When I get angry or frustrated, I clean. It's the only sense of feeling like I have any control, whether it means decluttering, whether it means picking one room and working on that room until it's done. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of cleaning that has been happening, and I'm just trying to at least keep my room from feeling like a disaster so that there's at least one place in the house I can go and be like clear for a little bit. So that's the first thing. Second thing, playing games with your kids. And if they're like at each other's throats, find a cooperative game to play or like a little, team game to play and try and do that. We taught our boys Risk this month and it actually went better my husband and my first argument ever was over a game of Risk. I had previously been with boyfriends who let me do whatever I wanted, and I expected that he, especially since it was my first time playing Risk, would be more gentle or generous. That was not the case, and we got a huge argument. But my boys actually did much better than we expected, and they were really thrilled to play. So playing, like, busting out the board games, not video games, but board games, I think gives you a time to like slow down. Another thing I've been doing is watching funny movies with my kids. We watched a Muppets movie. Yesterday I watched the Steve Martin Pink Panther, and they were rolling laughing. They were laughing so hard. And it was just one of those, when you hear your kids laugh, you can forget about the things that they're doing that is driving you crazy. So that has been really helpful. It's just filling our downtime with together, but like low stress together. Another thing that I've been doing is looking at picture books. This one actually I made a few years ago with some of my favorite pictures. You can see She Loved Her Life and It Loved Her Right Back. And I put in my favorite like song lyrics and poems about parenting, and different quotes from stories. This one's, she did not need much, wanted very little. A kind word, sincerity, fresh air, clean water, a garden, kisses, books to read, sheltering arms, a cozy bed, and to love and be loved in return. Let's see, I put in some nature pictures. Let's see what other ones. Yeah, just random pictures that made me smile. Oh, this one's jellyfish. I love looking at jellyfish. In order to lead a fascinating life when brimming with art, music, intrigue, and romance, you must surround yourself with precisely those things. So yeah, just like finding books or pictures, whether it's online or I like picture books. I don't know how many picture books I have, probably around 50 that I've done over the course of my lifetime. And it just helps me feel grateful, and it reminds me of the rough times we've gotten through, but also the good times too, and that everything's a stage and it's okay if I feel overwhelmed at this stage, because I've done that before and it's worked out okay. So that's another thing I'm doing to kind of refocus my parenting. Next up, I mean, this has been the month of slumps. Food slumps. Like, I consider myself a foodie. I consider myself a lover of really good food. And I'm actually a pretty decent cook. And so is my husband. But this year, our dining out budget has like skyrocketed because we just haven't been in the mood. We've been exhausted trying to do everything else. And so we ate out more than usual, which is not normal for us. We've never been people who've eaten out, but this year we just kind of did because life got crazy. I just haven't been in the mood to cook. And I don't know if it's a general just overwhelm or what. So the things that I'm trying to do there, and one of them is not really necessarily by choice, but I'm using it to view it as an opportunity. So 2 things. In my cabinet over the summer, I found like these moths that were like trying to find a place to live. And then I had to go through everything in the cabinet and get rid of so much stuff because I'd find that I'm just like, I don't even know what the source of it was. It was really frustrating. I mean, we had our canned goods and all that stuff, but it was just like any flowers or nuts that hadn't, I don't know, been sealed properly or what happened. So I've been having to go through that, and I found another one yesterday, which I hadn't seen for a while. So now I have to re-go through everything even more in detail. So also the same 2-day time span, our fridge started making weird noises. Now it's an older fridge, so we're like, and we knew this was coming at some point. So we have to clean out the fridge and freezer this weekend and hopefully restart it and at least give it a little bit of life before we have to purchase another one. So I'm taking the opportunity to go through everything and just get rid of food. And it means sometimes that your meals might look bizarre. Like for lunch, we had tortellini, blueberries, pickles, olives, Jell-O, and deviled eggs. Kind of weird. But the kids were happy, and that food is at least clearing out of the fridge, so that's good. Another thing you can do is DIY salad night, and then like I'll make mashed potatoes or bread or something on the side, and then some nuts, or if you're a family who eats meat, then you can put chicken or whatever on your salad. And I think especially when it's this muggy and hot out, like having a DIY like go for it yourself is really fun for the kids, but it also makes you feel like you're cleaning out what you have. You're probably eating healthier because it's going to be more fruits and veggies. Might be a handful of nuts or whatever else. And so that's been really good. Another thing is, instead of thinking about making one big thing, like a couple little things, whether it's like potato salad and eggs, or whether it's we made like these really just great roasted green beans with onions and some olive oil, and had that on the side of some other things. It was just like, if you think of it as lots of little things, so your mouth isn't getting as bored. And it doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, like the green bean thing took me a minute to dump that stuff in and put it in the oven. And then another minute to do like one other dish. There really isn't a lot of thought if you're making pretty simple food. And then just drinking lots of water, so you're at least feeling like you're not bogged down, is another way to kind of getting out of the food slump. And then the last thing is, this year, just intentional living, like I mentioned before, has not been as clear for me. And I guess it's just been, I've been feeling overwhelmed. So we're getting back to several things. First of all, we used to do family meetings. Last year, we started doing family meetings once a week to talk about what our family's doing well, what we could be doing better, and then just general planning together. Whether that means, like the boys last week, we talked about their birthday party coming up, and if there was anything else they wanted to do this summer. You can talk about chore division and how it needs to get reallocated. There's lots of things, and it doesn't have to be a long, scary family meeting. I would get a snack out for it, at least for the first one, and I will link the video below when I learned about it from The Secrets of Happy Families by Bruce Feiler, and it is, when we are doing those things, it is the happiest for our family. So, another thing, no spend months or weeks. We did not do a good job with our budget this year. We just kind of said, let's use the same budget from last year. This year, like normally we'd go through it every week and like sort receipts and everything. And this year we just didn't. We just kind of have been too busy. My husband's been doing an online MBA program, as well as we've had our other responsibilities, and we've been sucking at it. So just getting back in the frame of, okay, we can't just blow money like we're not paying attention. And so just doing those, telling the kids, like, we're not going to do spending this month unless it's necessary. And think of it as a challenge, whether it's like going through your fridge or your pantry, or whether it's, looking through your homeschool curriculum and deciding that, no, you don't need this extra thing that you thought you did. Talking about needs and wants. We play the need and want game. We did it again this morning where each of us would name something and we'd all go around saying if it was a need or a want. And I think that helps kind of reframe like, oh yeah, it is the need or an actual want. Focused planning. I got out my bullet journal again and have been trying to do a lot better at getting ready, looking at what's coming up, what dates I need to remember, what friends that I feel like have things going on in their lives that I want to touch base with, those kinds of things. My gratitude and 3 list. So every day I have a notebook next to my bed, and I did not do it very well over the summer, where I would write down like 3 or 4 things that stuck out about the day, that were good, or sometimes like that were just rough, that I survived. And then on the next page, I will write 3 things that I would want to get done the following day. And that's been really, really good. When I do that, I feel so much better. It keeps me focused. Like I said, actually going through our budget and receipts, brain dumps. So when I'm walking around and like can't settle, just getting a notebook page out and just writing down everything that I can't stop thinking about, so then it can clear my brain a little bit. And then the last few things that I'm going to tell you have helped is more music and less podcasts and more dancing. It sounds silly, but podcasts, as great as they are, and I love podcasts and I love audiobooks and I love learning, when you are feeling completely like you're swimming in information and thoughts and your brain can't settle, putting on music and dancing is going to be so much more healthy than listening to a podcast with something else to think about, at least for me. Because the podcasts that I listen to are political, or they're reader recommendations, or they're on Being, where they're talking about philosophy or psychology. And those are things that I actually want to focus on, but it gives me too much more to think about. And so I just need to turn on those music that I can sing at the top of my lungs and be happy with, and then dance like nobody's watching. Although a lot of times I like to dance while my kids are watching, because right now my boys are at the stage where they're like, oh my gosh, Mom. But I think they really secretly love it. So just trying to have some fun, because it goes so fast. So that is my honest confessions of life lately and general slumpiness. Can I get an amen from any of you? I would love to hear what you guys are doing to try and settle your brain and focus on what really matters. Hopefully this will help. I think it's at least helped me to put everything down in words and then out for you guys. So I'm at least trying to be honest with you. So I will talk to you all later. Have a great weekend and see ya. Bye.